Hi, friends. We're out in nature today. It's so beautiful out. I just love being in nature. It's a little windy, but it's okay because it's just so beautiful out. I was going to head to the gym, but I figured I'd make this video first. So it's a little windy, so hopefully it's coming out okay. So today I wanted to talk about how much Jesus is eager and willing to help us in our time of needs. Always there to support us, and He's always there to help us during our hard times, any kind of hardship, struggles, strongholds, addiction, anything we're going through in life, any hardship, which is part of being on this earth. He's there to support us every step of the way. And I wanted to give some examples of that today. You guys want to hear something funny? I don't think the devil wants me to make this video because I've had my notes fly all over the place. I had to run out and chase it. This camera keeps falling all over the place. And I've recorded outside before and it's been windy. He does not want me to make this video. He does not want you to know that God is willing and eager to help us. He does not want us to know that. But he is, and we're going to continue. So I was looking at Matthew 8, verses 1 to 5. This is the story. It's going to be about the guy who had leprosy. Leprosy was a disease that had so many different bacteria, and it was contagious. And if anyone had leprosy, they had to scream out, unclean, 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 just so no one touches them. Because he had leprosy, he had to be in a whole separate island by himself, so he didn't have any human interaction unless it was something he absolutely had to do, absolutely had to go out in the city to get something, like something he had no choice but to get. But can you imagine how he felt and how much isolated he felt? Not having any human interactions, not being able to talk to anybody, not being able to hug anybody, not being able to see your family. Can you imagine how hard that was for him at the time? I cannot imagine. And, even if we have moments where we do feel alone or we have no one to talk to, it's not the same as completely isolation and no human interaction. That's so hard. And so every time he came to the city, they had to scream out, unclean, unclean, unclean. And can you imagine going to the city and the first thing you have to say to everyone out loud is unclean? Like if you try to go somewhere in public and you say unclean, like if you go to New York City during the ball drop and you say unclean, they'll look at you like, what? They'll look at you like that. So can you imagine having to shout that out? Like how worthless you probably feel, how embarrassed you probably feel. You feel worthless after a while. When you've been saying that for so long, it gets to your mind after a while. It gets to your self-worth. It just brings you down overall. It was a really sad time. I can't imagine not having that human interaction, not being able to hug your family and friends, not being able to talk to them, see them. You're just all by yourself the whole time. Like you're this creature. You feel like a creature that's like isolated and can't be around anyone because you're so unclean. And you have to announce you're unclean so they don't get contaminated because it was very contagious. The leprosy was. So if we look at Matthew 8, verses 1 to 3, it says, a large crowd followed Jesus as he came down the mountains. A man with leprosy approached him and kneeled before Jesus and said, Lord, if you are willing, he didn't say, can you? He didn't ask him to do it. He said, if you are willing, can you heal me? Can you make me clean? And Jesus reached out his hand and touched him and said, I am willing. Be healed. And then instantly the leprosy was gone. It just makes me sad because, oh my gosh, why does it make me so... Oh my gosh. It just makes me sad because I can't imagine how lonely he felt. You know, how lonely he felt that he had to be in an island all by himself, no human reaction. You feel worthless. You feel like nothing. You have to go out and say unclean to everybody, like you're so like you have because you have this contagious bacteria, and you have to announce unclean to everybody. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed. You're lonely. You feel worthless. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. And he didn't ask Jesus to heal him. He said, if you are willing. It's so sweet. If you are willing, right? Most people ask him. Most people were just asking him. But he said, if you are willing. Wow, that's beautiful. And then Jesus said, I am willing. So the point of that story is to tell you whatever hardship you're going through, whatever struggles, that Jesus is willing. He said, I am willing. Right? And then also, if we look at Matthew 5, 3 verses 12, it says, blessed are those who are poor. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who hunger, and blessed are those who thirst for justice, for righteousness, doing the right thing. Whether someone's looking or not looking, you're still doing the right thing. Those are the blessed ones. And when I was younger, I used to always wonder, like before I started reading the scripture, I didn't know because I didn't read the scripture. I didn't study it. So I used to always wonder, blessed are the poor, blessed are the ones that mourn. So I have to be poor and sad to be blessed? I was so confused. I was like, I don't want to be like that. No one wants to choose to be like that. But we talked about this in my previous videos. You can look at one of the videos below and look at it. But what it's saying is that that's how Jesus met them. He met them when they were poor. That's how they were at that moment. He met them when they were mourning. And he was trying to say, you're still blessed. That's the whole point of that story. So Jesus is willing, and he is eager to help us in our time and needs. Another example was when Jesus and his disciples were on a boat, and they were going to an island. Jesus wanted them to go to an island, and this island was like an island that you should not go to. It was a forbidden island. No one goes over there, and Jesus wanted to go over there. And they're like, it's like going to a bad side of a neighborhood where something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Something bad is going to happen, right? Somewhere like breaking your car, robbery, assault, whatever, anything bad, any kind of high crime, something can happen to you, right? So it was like going to an area that was known to be a bad area and not to go to. That's what the island was known for. This other island Jesus wanted to go to. So they got on the boat, and then the storm got really bad, and Jesus was tired, so he fell asleep, right? He fell asleep, and the storm got really bad, and Jesus fell asleep, and they didn't trust that Jesus would save them because he was asleep. So they woke him up. They woke him up to save them. Even if he fell asleep and the boat went over, I mean, he brings back to life. They're going to be fine. But at the time, they didn't trust it, and they woke him up. And Jesus was like, so he told the storm to calm down, to stay calm, to be still. And then the storm was still, and they were looking at him like, wow, who is this man that can tell the storm to calm down? It's pretty powerful. Yeah, so they were on a boat for that, and that was one example where they didn't trust that he would save them because he was asleep, but then because the storm was really bad, right? And they thought the boat was going to go over, and Jesus told the storm to be still, and it be stilled. And when they got to the island, there was a man who was naked and possessed. It talks about it on Matthew. Well, the one with the storm, that was Jonah 1 verses 5 is where it talks about the storm with the boat. And then if we look at Matthew 8, 28 verses 29, so when they got to the island, a man comes out who is naked and demon possessed, and he runs after them real fast. He runs after them. And Jesus comes up front, and then the demon, I guess, realizes Jesus, and the demon said, "Have you come here to torture me?" So he said to Jesus, "Have you come here to torture me?" And Jesus said, "No, I came here to help you." And then he got the demon out. So Jesus was there to help the possessed man. So basically, he went to that island to help the possessed man. Isn't that so beautiful? So right there just shows us how Jesus says he's eager to help us and he's willing, right? I just love that story of the leprosy one because I love how he just kneeled to him and just said, "Lord, if you're willing to help us." Even if we say that to him, like, "Please, Lord, help me. Help me with whatever struggles or obstacles, whatever you're going through in life," which you do. It's human nature, it's part of life, you know. And he'll help you. It says he's willing and he's eager to help you. All right. Okay. Bye, friends.